Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is April the 14th, 2017. This is the home of cryptocurrency, straight talk, no fancy setter graphics, just information. And do we have some information for you today? We're going to review with this awesome panel of guests what happened this week in Bitcoin and in Litecoin and in altcoin. Everything is going to be talked about, as I know you guys like altcoins also. So let's very quickly. Juan Galt is here. You guys all know him. We link to him below. Gabriel from Venezuela. Everyone loves his energy and his insight on what is really going on in Venezuela. And then we have Medici, who is coming from New York. Now you might not know him, but I know him. He has got a great Twitter feed out there. He's involved in altcoins, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. So some of you altcoins are going to get a kick out of him, I am sure. But you got to follow his Twitter. It is linked to below. Everyone, welcome to the show today. So my first question, actually, we're going to do for our newcomer, because Juan has been on the show before, and obviously Gabriel has been on the show before. He's been on another show of mine too. So Medici, can Bitcoin get above 1,300 soon? That was some of the news of the week, where people were kind of scared for various reasons that we'll get into, that Bitcoin was stalling again. Well, what do you say?
I don't think. Well, so I've been short-term bearish, but it's gone up, $100 since my call. I think it can go up, but I think in the near term, so 3 to 6 months, we're gonna have to see kind of what ends up happening with Roger and the whole FUD that goes with SegWit. But I mean, it's looking great considering all of the drama that's been going on.
Yes, it was a very dramatic week, and so I turned to Juan Galt. We had a episode where the price of Bitcoin, it was around 1240, and then all of a sudden it goes down to 1160. In a previous video of mine, I mentioned how some of the Chinese miners have gotten into a habit of tweeting semi-scary things or just weird FUD. And then, of course, there's that one guy, and I won't name his name, who just, it seems that all he does now is he spreads FUD because he wants to buy coffee with Bitcoin. So do you think the price drop was caused by all of this drama? And what do you think about the drama of this week?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that it was. I was following the price very closely. I'm calling it the ASIC boost rally, which started at the beginning of the month, and then right about in the middle, Gregory Maxwell put out the whole ASIC boost theory, and the price just kept going up. And then he who shall not be named. Well, Roger Ver puts out this public service announcement, and the price just dips immediately, right? So, it kind of gives you information about where the market is at, right? And I mean, you could say that the price fell because of Roger Ver's views, or you could say that it did because of the drama, because of the lack of sort of consensus around this issue. And there's plenty of Bitcoin Unlimited supporters too, so it's it's sort of a tricky situation. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that he's the one that crashed it basically.
All right, now this brings up one of my points that a reoccurring point that I continue to bring up, and I think people have done a really good job of it. Just ignore these people as much as possible, because after the ASICs revelations, ASICs boost revelations, it's so obvious what is going on in the miners' heads now, and that they just want the status quo to be continued so that they can continue to make some extra money. I mean, we won't get into all of those specifics, but I want to go down to Gabriel, and this is a two-part question because you're in a very unique situation down in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Have you heard about, what do you think about this drama? And then tell us what's going on in Venezuela with Bitcoin.
Okay. Well, we really here, as long as we can use Bitcoin, we don't care about that drama, okay? That's the first thing you have to know. In fact, in Bolivares has risen only risen. It doesn't go down, not even with all this FUD, it didn't go down just a bit. It stayed solid at 4 million, and now, a week later, it's at 5 million Bolivares.
Well, right, that's good. I mean, again, the situation that you are in there, I mean, people basically desperately need a stable currency. So some people are willing to pay a lot for Bitcoin, which is great. And so, I mean, it's not good that what's going on in Venezuela, but it's...
And Adam, the thing is that with the latest political turmoil that just started 10 days ago, that made a Bitcoin spike. The more political turmoil there is, the higher the price goes.
Yeah, that is an excellent point. So I wanna do a little quick thing and a little change into altcoins real quick. But first, since people, Medici, and this is for you, not everyone knows your background per se. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then kind of related to some current events now going on with like the altcoin space and everything?
Yeah, about 2 years ago, I started investing in cryptocurrencies, and I did quite well. And so then I started getting some family and friends to invest in, basically give me money for me to manage it, and I did really well with that. And then a year ago, we started a fund with a partner of mine, and so now we're getting actual investors to invest their money with us, and we've been doing really well now. We focus on long-term investing, and that obviously the FUD is great for us because it allows us to buy crypto assets at extremely bargain prices. So that's where we're at right now, and we've moved from Bitcoin now to holding a majority of alts, and the gains are great, and we're doing really well in that aspect. So we're excited to see what the future holds, and I think when it comes to Bitcoin FUD, I mean, I think the longer it could stay down in terms of the price being suppressed, the better, because everyone in the crypto sphere can make more money. And I'd rather Bitcoin stay leveled instead of really kind of moon, which is what I think a lot of people want, because it just gives us more time to put more investor money into crypto before kind of the big guys come in.
This is a very unique perspective and an interesting thing that people don't get to hear that much here on this channel. I want to ask you this. Do you think, because people have been bringing it up this week too, when Bitcoin started doing well, and I'll ask all my guests this question, is there an altcoin bubble of sorts going on? And that's kind of like a two-part question. Is there an altcoin bubble in the top alts, because we know what the top ones are, or could there be not an altcoin bubble in the top alts, but maybe in some of these third-rate, fourth-rate ones? So, Medici, what do you think about that?
I think there is a bubble in the third-rate ones, the ones that just aren't doing anything. I think there's a bubble that's being formed right now among alts, but I think that the market is just it's going to continue to go up. There's going to be more publicity that's going to be coming in, a lot more notoriety. So with like Ethereum Classic, we have Barry Silbert coming out with the Ethereum Classic Trust, which is going to be huge for alts. I think that's going to help all other alts kind of gain that view that they're not just kind of play around things, but they actually might have a position in the future. So I think there's still a ton of growth that is going to be had. It's just we're reaching a point where we're not investing anymore. We're just holding the assets that we've invested in the past, and just seeing kind of how the market plays out, because at this point, I think these prices are pretty expensive.
So I'm going to get back to you in 1 second about maybe if you could talk about, I don't know if you can bring up what's specifically in your portfolio and what you're holding, but I think people are very interested in that. But I'm going to leave them hanging for a second, because I want to ask Juan Galt a question. Do you think there's a bubble, and what's going on with Dash? Because you know a little bit more about Dash than I think many people. So tell us what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the bubble already happened in a sense. Obviously, we saw a massive rally for Dash, for Ethereum, for a variety of cryptocurrencies. to the tune of 10x, right? I mean, Ethereum was Dash was like $13, went to 100, now it's at like 70. Ethereum was like $13, went to like 60, it's now at 40 something, right? So we saw a massive pump, and now it's settling at a sort of more moderate level. Thing that happened, I was looking at it very closely, was there was sort of like a triangle shape, and Tone Vase was sort of tracking them. There's a triangle shape sort of happening, right? Like the prices of the like Dash and Ethereum were sort of slowly plummeting, and then there's a point where it had to like either go up or down, and Tone Vase was like, oh, it's going to crash back to like, you know, the lowest Fibonacci level, so Dash at 20, Ethereum at 30, right? And then instead it pumped, right? And why did it pump? Well, it pumped around the same time that Bitcoin crashed, right around the time that Roger Ver put out that public service announcement. So what I'm seeing is Ethereum and Dash being hedges against the Bitcoin drama, against the Bitcoin sort of lack of consensus. And I mean, that's just sort of a note on that particular sort of the price in the past sort of month. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the price of the major altcoins goes down, you know, again, to the lower Fibonacci levels, like to 20, 30 or whatever. But if, I think overall over the next like, you know, 2-3 years, you know, I would not be surprised with a 10x on all major altcoins, right? I mean, Bitcoin. I don't know if Bitcoin will get 10,000. See the other altcoins doing a lot better, and you know, I'm not a professional sort of speculator investor, but I wouldn't be surprised because there's you know, this space is very hot right now.
Well, I will say that oh God, what was I going to say about the oh yeah, I think the one who will not be named wants some of these people to use Ethereum and Dash and whatever as a hedge to pile into them in order to, as safe havens, to make them seem like safe havens, so Bitcoin does go down, to make it look like altcoins are a little bit more powerful. I mean, the bigger the if the altcoin bubble gets inflated more so than it currently is, then it makes those who want to fork Bitcoin, they have a better case, I guess. They try to wrap an argument around it. Anyway, Gabriel down in Venezuela, you guys were mining some Ethereum. What's going on with that? Is that still going on? And do you think there's an altcoin bubble?
Yeah, buddy. We're mining all kinds of cryptocurrencies. As if you see right now, this week, Ethereum has experienced a bullish sentiment, okay? Because after being at 50, it dropped last week, and then this week it came up again. So all the Ethereum miners are very happy for the moment.
Yeah, and you guys, just to make it clear, have, or at least you and some associates are mining Ethereum, right?
Yes, that's right. We mine Ethereum to get Bitcoin.
And this is big, huge news. This was revealed actually the last time Gabriel and I talked. And Venezuela, people don't know this. It's one of the biggest per capita. It appears to be one of the biggest per capita miners of altcoins out there. I mean, Gabriel, you say there's quite a few people that mine altcoins just to get Bitcoin because, I mean, they'd rather have, they don't want to play with the local currency. Okay, this is, I mean,
there's like a fever, you know, there's a fever to mine alt currencies to get Bitcoin. That's what we use alt currency for, to get more Bitcoin.
Exactly. So I've got, this is a question I'm going to ask everybody. Gabriel, do you think that we have never really, well, we've seen altcoins crash before, but so most of the top six or the top six altcoins have all been pumped recently in various ways. Do you have a prediction on what altcoin might dump first? I mean, like seriously crash?
Oh my God, that's really hard to say. I would say Dash. Definitely.
Okay.
Way too high. I thought it would go between 20 and 30 and then we're on to 100. That's obviously a pump.
Yeah. Well, Gabriel, I'm serious. Juan, do you have any specific altcoin out there that you think will be the first to dump?
Well, I mean, interesting that you say Dash because I was going to say Dash too, but and that would be like a short-term dump. I think I think it needs to, in a sense, test the bottom again, test the support. Like maybe it gets to 30. I mean, that would be great if it gets to 30. I'd definitely be buying at 30. But I think towards the end of the year, Dash is supposed to release their evolution client, and this is this is the big deal. This is the big release that is supposed to bring ease of use to a whole other level with Dash. It's going to make it like PayPal. And as far as the ease of use, but still maintain it, very decentralized. They have a huge amount of nodes and stuff. So I think long-term Dash still has a strong position as a currency, especially if Bitcoin becomes a settlement layer. We're going to want something that's cheaper transactions, faster transactions, and more privacy. And Dash still has that. And they don't have the consensus problems that Bitcoin has, because it has a built-in consensus sort of conflict resolution mechanism with the governance system. It has something that very few alts have. It has a built-in system for finding out what people care about and what the direction should be. And that is still a big deal. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it corrects and then it starts going up again. But I would say Dash as well. Yeah.
All right, Medici. I don't know if you can make a prediction like that. And also, everyone is curious, Medici, about your holdings. So talk about those two things.
Well, so I think the alt that would drop would be Ripple. I think it's, it obviously pumped extremely high. The volume has dropped to around 8 million, and it's not even top 5 when it comes to the volume. So I think that one's going to drop. Although Ripple is extremely centralized, so there could be a lot of manipulation going on, which could keep it up at the 1 billion mark. But I think alts, like someone mentioned before, I think alts will continue to rise for the next few months. And even if Bitcoin does go up, I mean, regardless if Bitcoin goes down or up, I think alts will continue to go, just because there's so much. I just think a lot of people are entering the market now, and the market's just going to continue to grow. But in terms of what we hold, our biggest investments are Litecoin, Dash, Ethereum Classic, and Ethereum. And obviously Bitcoin, but that one's more long-term, so we don't really play along with that one too much.
Now, this is those coins that you just mentioned. And by the way, the Ripple thing is I don't even consider that a major altcoin. Even I don't know why they still list it up there. I mean, it's so central. There's some crazy things about it, and I'm not even going to get into that. Everybody knows my opinion, or that I'm not a big fan of that. But yeah, if Ripple is going to be considered, then yeah, it'll be. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all if that be the first one that crashed. But yeah, the ones you mentioned, so you guys you are holders of that, and you're not flipping it at all. So this is a unique approach. We don't, these young guys that keep on coming into the space, and that's who's coming into the space. You refer to, the space is growing, I made a prediction last year that in 2018 it was going to get huge. I didn't think it would get this big this fast, but there are young guys who just want to gamble, and they just go back and forth, flip and this and that. But your approach is a little bit different. You're talking top tier altcoins holding, and to tell you the truth, I rarely hear anyone even mention that they are a top tier altcoin holder. So that's interesting.
Well, and I think that's why I try to drive that with my Twitter account, because so many people are trying to do day trading, but they don't realize the massive gains that there are of just holding for a year or 2 years. So something like Dash, we bought in at around $3, and then Litecoin we bought in at around $3 as well. And it's just, I mean, you see the prices now; they've just skyrocketed. And I think that's it's not even that difficult. You just buy when it's low. If you see the cryptocurrency that's going to be around for 2 or 3 years, hopefully 5 years, that it's going to continue to grow. And then something like Dash is a great community, great developers, great marketing. And so the sustainability of that crypto asset is going to continue to go, which is why we saw it, hit all the way to 100. And I think it's going to, right now it's, hovering around 70, I think. And I think it's going to pass 100 in the coming months. So we're pretty bullish about Dash as well.
Well, we got a Dash bull here. I had no idea. This is interesting stuff. So here's my follow up, and everyone's going to get asked this question. You bring up Litecoin. That was huge news this week. That Litecoin started. It got over the 75% mark in signaling for segregated witness. Mm-hmm. Does Litecoin SegWit matter? Does this matter? Will this be huge for Bitcoin? What are your thoughts about it, Medici?
Yeah, it's going to be massive. I hope that the miners don't play around and they allow SegWit to actually activate on Litecoin because I think the drama with Bitcoin is going to make people more interested in Litecoin, at least for the short term. And then that's going to allow us to also bring in the Lightning Network, which is also going to be huge for Litecoin. So I think yes, definitely the SegWit has. I mean, you saw when we got the activation period how quickly it rose. So the price definitely is aligned to SegWit and wanting SegWit to pass. And so if the drama with Bitcoin continues, I think we could see Litecoin at least doubling in the coming weeks.
Awesome. That is quite a bold prediction. I want to remind everyone, if you like bold predictions, then pound that like button now. Share this video, tweet it out, spread the word if you're watching it live or if you're watching it taped. Hey, man, we've been getting a lot of new subscribers, a lot of cool people leaving comments. Sorry I haven't been able to reply to all the comments yet. I'm still super duper busy. So, Juan Galt, tell us your views. Does Litecoin, SegWit matter? What do you think's going on?
Yeah, I think what Medici said is it's right. You know, Litecoin has always been sort of thought of as an experiment, as an experimental space, and now it actually has an opportunity to play and see what Litecoin actually looks like with SegWit, and we can experience that without compromising Bitcoin's $20 billion market cap. Will it become a sort of used currency? Will it sort of take over kind of ease of use or sort of like, you know, buy your cup of coffee with Litecoin type of thing? I don't know, but you know, that possibility is obviously lingering in the background to some degree or another. And with SegWit on Litecoin, maybe that will influence Bitcoin. And if it doesn't, then it will also influence Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, I'm holding some Litecoin, and I have some friends that are very bullish on Litecoin in the short term, midterm. At some point, it's going to pop, and at some point, it's going to correct, just like in everything else. But you know, I'm hearing numbers like $14 a Litecoin, $20 a Litecoin. You know, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's definitely a big story.
All right, Gabriel in Venezuela. Do you guys hear about Litecoin down there? Do you know anyone involved?
Yeah.
Do you have a price prediction? And what do you think about its SegWit in terms of Bitcoin? So take it away.
Yes, this week I noticed this news, okay, which is that Bitmain is making hardware for mining Litecoin now. Did you know that?
Yeah,
I know they're causing trouble. Yeah, that's what I know.
They're just starting to sell their miners for Litecoin, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know what Charlie Lee thinks about that, but you know, Bitmain is getting into business about mining Litecoin also. So Litecoin is everywhere now. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna grow a lot of 20 easily if it's activated with a SegWit.
And so you're pretty confident that it will activate with SegWit. You're confident.
Yeah, of course.
And do you think
close?
But do you think?
So close.
I know
Yes.
you support Bitcoin SegWit, correct?
Yeah.
Do you think it
Yeah, of
will?
course.
Do you think it will inspire this for Bitcoin SegWit to start? If Litecoin SegWit starts, will it put pressure on Bitcoin?
Yes, because Litecoin is gonna go very useful. It's gonna improve. And it's going to prove to everyone that SegWit can work and will work for Bitcoin. And when people see that Litecoin goes up in price 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 times, and then what's going to happen for Bitcoin? We're going to love if Seg is integrated into Bitcoin, and we see those huge price moves because confidence builds up.
Now this is actually a good follow-up question. A lot of people this week in the Twitter sphere were talking about, if only we didn't have all this Bitcoin drama and Bitcoin was clearly going to implement SegWit, that the Bitcoin price might be $1,600, might be $2,000 now, might be $3,000 now. What do you think it would be if we didn't have all this drama right now? If everything that we've been through the last 6 weeks or whatever it's been, if that didn't happen, what do you think Bitcoin's price would be?
I think it would be around 1,700 by the moment if we didn't have all that FUD. 1,700 easily by now.
Okay, how about you, Juan Galt? What do you think?
I mean, it's a tricky question because, see, the funny thing, and I was thinking about what to talk about in this show, and the tricky and frustrating thing about Bitcoin in the sense is that everybody is so libertarian, and with libertarianism comes a lot of drama. and that's okay. You know, there's a lot of individualism, and so there's a lot of distrust, and distrust is healthy because we like this sort of Wild West sort of experience of freedom, and you know, you got to protect yourself, and you don't know if everybody, like some people are out to get you or whatever. So the distrust that libertarianism comes with is what keeps Bitcoin decentralized. If we were capable of being comfortable in a very high trust environment, then we would be okay with centralized statism, but we're very libertarian, and Bitcoin is very libertarian. So that distrust is what keeps Bitcoin decentralized and this cryptos decentralized, but it's that distrust that makes consensus so difficult. And so, I mean, you know, what if we're wrong and SegWit is not the way to go? What if Lightning networks are just actually not that user friendly or complicate things, or like we have to kind of, in a sense, experiment, and this is why this Litecoin SegWit integration is great. I mean, as far as what the price would be, you know, if Bitcoin could come to consensus faster, we would be by 5,000 by now, you know. But that is kind of like a feature of the culture, is that and like we got to be really careful how we move forward, because if Bitcoin becomes centralized, it will be really draconian, right? Like if Bitcoin becomes the NSA coin, that's really bad. So everybody is pushing that future away.
Ooh, wow, that was a lot to say there. I like it. Okay, Medici, what do you think about all this? Do you have any opinions of what the price would have been, or what he was just talking about with how it's good that it is not centralized. Obviously, it is good.
I think the crypto market is extremely manipulated, and so I think regardless of the FUD or not, the price would be at whatever these people want the price to be. If they want the price to go lower, which I would imagine they would want, if they want to accumulate more, they would drop the price down. So I think all this news about Roger and all these people is just kind of a distraction from the bigger game, which we all know Bitcoin is going to be big in the future, and it already is big. But I think it's just buying, and like kind of what we do with alts. We just buy and we just hold, and we don't really care about what's kind of happening in the present day because we know the real value. I mean, I see Bitcoin continuing to go up. I think short term, I'm kind of bearish for it just because of all this drama, but definitely long term it's going to continue to go up.
I want but you're not going to say a number that you think it would have been at. You think that it's so manipulated it would just be what it is right now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. The price needs to stay. We don't want the price, at least if I was one of them, I wouldn't want the price to skyrocket yet. I want to keep the price nice and suppressed, scare people into selling their Bitcoin, and then just try to accumulate as much as possible until the market is ready for this huge rise up. I think regardless of the FUD and the drama, the suppression is going to continue to happen.
Now, so who are these who do you think these manipulators are? Because I mean, I think it's hard to manipulate to have massive manipulation over the Bitcoin market, at least.
Well, I mean, the Forex. I mean, you have these market makers that manipulate the Forex market, and the Forex market is an extremely large and massive market. And Bitcoin is market cap; it's large, but if you're looking at the volume among exchanges, I would imagine that it's. I mean, you see it with alts, and alts is definitely smaller, but I think they are able to manipulate it. And I mean, we've seen it with miners tweeting a tweet, and the price goes down significantly. But I mean, I think just there's a lot of vested interest, a lot of people that are extremely wealthy that see Bitcoin just like how we see it. We see the future of it, and for them, there's millions and millions of dollars at stake, even billions of dollars in their eyes. And they're going to do whatever it takes, similar to Roger Ver, they're going to do whatever it takes to take control over it, which is whether it's, price manipulation or scaring people away or, helping it grow, which is something kind of what Barry's doing. There's very different agendas and we don't really see what's going on behind the scenes, but we can just kind of predict based on the price.
I want to talk about what Barry Silbert is doing with Ethereum Classic, because I think that was news from the beginning of the week, and it's kind of been overlooked. And I will get back to you in a second. Juan Galt, do you know about this news? Well, first of all, I think Barry Silbert actually mentioned that he might have a Zcash fund coming out soon also. What do you think about Barry Silbert and altcoins, and what might happen with Ethereum Classic by the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know about this trust. I definitely keep an eye out on Ethereum Classic, but I haven't had a chance to really look at it in depth recently, so I don't really have any particular insights on that. But I mean, I want to hear about this Ethereum Classic trust, and I do have some Zcash, and I've been playing with Ethereum Classic. I've been buying and selling for a while, so
all right.
That I'm looking forward to hearing Medici.
Yeah. And we're going to get right back to him. I want to make sure that Gabriel, do you have anything to add to this? What's just been said? You guys do Ethereum. Do you mess around with Ethereum Classic at all, or just Ethereum?
Yes, I hold some Ethereum Classic too, and I've been very happy because it's gone up, like it has doubled almost in just a month.
I'm wondering, and maybe we'll get back to Medici on this. If this all comes to fruition, everything that Barry Silbert talks about in terms of Ethereum Classic, where do you see it going? And do tell us about your thoughts on Barry Silbert. Elaborate on all of that. And have you heard about that Zcash fund thing also?
Me?
Yes, Medici.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're extremely bullish with Ethereum Classic. We bought a couple of months ago, and obviously the price has gone up significantly, and I think it's going to continue to go up. I mean, maybe short term it might drop, just because this market is also able to be easily manipulated. But this investment trust is extremely bullish. We saw what Barry did with the Bitcoin trust that brought in a ton of money. I think he has almost 200 million worth of Bitcoin in that trust. So even if it's 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 50 million that gets added into, that is a significant amount of buying pressure that is going to dramatically increase the price. So within the next 3 to 4 months, I definitely see the price of Ethereum Classic at least doubling. And if it doesn't do that in the next 6 months, I definitely do see it doubling at least in the next year. Because there's a lot of investor money coming in. This investment trust is also going to give part of the money that they're going to be making into the development of Ethereum Classic. And there's also a lot of support coming from Asia. A lot of these big miners like Ethereum Classic, and just the fact that it's the underdog to Ethereum is also a huge psychological play that we think that a lot of investors are going to look into Classic instead of the big Ethereum.
Yeah, I think those are all very solid reasons out there. Did you hear about the Zcash thing with Barry Silbert at all?
Yeah, so we're looking at Zcash. I think it's still a little overvalued, and there's not a lot of supply. So it's definitely an investment that we want to make, but I think it's right now we're not willing to make any investments when it comes to Zcash at the moment. But the investment trust should be coming. I think Barry said towards the end of the year. So that's something to look out for. The Zcash is definitely going to be big in the future.
I am not a fan of Zcash per se, but I think it's like a predestined to be in the top 7. I think other people that don't like Zcash can even see that. I don't like how it was started, and I'm sorry I'm picking on you here, but and I'm sure a lot of the viewers, by the way, pound that like button, viewers are like loving the fact that Adam Meister is asking about specific altcoins, but I'm doing it for you guys. It's a special thing, a special day, and because Decred is going to be on the show soon. What have you heard about this Decred thing? What should I ask the Decred guys?
I haven't done any research on Decred, but from what a lot of people talk about it seems like it's a good project. But again, for us, we think the market is going to continue to go up, but it's also overpriced, and we start doing research on these crypto assets as they're going down, so that we buy when everyone's freaking out and when everyone thinks that their life is over. So right now we're not kind of looking that much into these assets. We're looking more about what we're going to do in the short term. So we're figuring out if Bitcoin's going to go down or up, and because eventually what we want is to sell a portion of our assets back into Bitcoin, because investors obviously they can cash out anytime, and putting in Bitcoin makes it easier for us to take out the money if they're interested in kind of getting out of the market.
Oh yeah, it's all about getting that Bitcoin. All right, Juan Galt, I'm going to give you the floor to kind of follow up to anything that was just said. I just brought up a lot of topics, Decred, Zcash, anything that you were interested in elaborating on there.
I don't really know much about Decred. I've definitely been seeing it. It's been buzzing around. I think Augur is interesting. They're saying that they might release. They might come to market with their product this year. So if they do, Augur as a technology is fascinating, and it's going to change the game in many ways. The centralized prediction market, that's a big deal. So I'm liking Augur. I'm looking at Augur. There's a lot of altcoins right now that are sort of cheap, that are kind of bouncing around, and that have some potential, but I don't really have any specific things that I kind of want to add right now.
Okay, I want to Gabriel in Venezuela. Anything you want to add to that? Any altcoin that? Oh yes, please.
Yes. Thank you. I wanted to talk about something that I think is very important this week, and we have overlooked. Back to Bitcoin, our original. Okay, there's 4 major players that have been messing around in a good way. Okay, I got for you China, India, Japan, and Russia. Okay. What happened? Let's see the big picture. Regulated exchange and fixed the margin trading, which was making a abnormally unusual volume on Chinese market. Okay, that was fixed by the Chinese government. Then the Indian government is creating a committee to examine the regulation they're going to implement for the Bitcoin and all other currencies. Okay, country. Okay, important. And then Japan, which is always ahead of the curve, okay? Always ahead of the 15 years ahead of us, okay? They accepting legal mode of payment for Bitcoin, okay? Huge news for us, for everyone in the crypto community, because if Japan is accepting this as a legal form of payment, that, everywhere in the world eventually is going to be like in Japan, okay? Because over and over again with every has always happened the same, okay? And then we got Russia, okay? They announced that by 2018 they will have all the regulations ready and set to go, approving everything that has to do with Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies, okay? 4 big major players in the world which are leading the way, in a way, helping everybody in the crypto community to make Bitcoin bigger and better everywhere around the world.
Well, Gabriel, you read my mind, actually, because my follow-up question for you was going to be, is there a story that I missed that we didn't talk about, and you had it prepared right there? That was the story of the week that we had not spoken about yet. And with that in mind, let's go to Juan Galt. Do you have any comments on that 4-prong country theory there? Because whether, the mere fact that the PR that's coming out there with those 4 countries, the marketing aspect of it, it's good for Bitcoin. It can't be denied. You have any thoughts on that, Juan Galt? And do you have a story of the week that we forgot to bring up this week?
Well, as far as the geopolitical attention that we're getting, again, Russia, India, China, and I think you said another country.
Japan.
And that obviously it's huge news, but with regulation it comes validation that this is a big currency, that it's legitimate. It comes with legitimacy, but also comes sort of certain restrictions, right? And it's no secret in the crypto space that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are sort of tied and sort of limited by the fiat to crypto exchanges, the decentralized exchanges, right? They're very useful, they're essential to our current market, but they're also centralized. And what the governments are going to try to do is they're going to try to capture this centralized exchanges and bring in various degrees of surveillance and control there, and they're going to try to influence the currencies from the exchanges. Okay, so there's different kinds of people, there's different types of users. Some people are going to be okay with being exposed to that kind of surveillance, and some people are not. People ask me sometimes, what is the easiest way to buy Bitcoin? I think the easiest way to get Bitcoin is to actually get paid in Bitcoin. If you don't want to get exposed to the surveillance, if you don't want to get exposed to the regulatory compliance, if you don't want to get exposed to any of that, find ways to get your employers, people that pay you for stuff, for whatever you do, to pay you in Bitcoin, give them discounts, whatever. You have a great deal of negotiation levers. And if you get paid in Bitcoin and they realize, okay, well, maybe I should start get paid in Bitcoin, that's the way to scale. Once we're getting paid in Bitcoin, we're buying things as much as we can in Bitcoin, then we just live in Bitcoin space and we're not touching this fiat to crypto exchanges. So that's how I see the future. I think that there's obviously going to be, the gray market, like the sort of the surveillance sort of white market people, and then there's going to be the Bitcoin to Bitcoin people, or the crypto to crypto people, and that's what I'm seeing as far as that goes. Yeah.
Work for Bitcoin, people. Work for Bitcoin. Yeah, and then I'm sorry, I interrupted. I guess you're gonna say the story of the week that I forgot, or something you're gonna say. So.
Yeah, I mean, as far as story of the week, I've been following the ASIC boosting very closely. I think that, as bullish and hopeful and comfortable as the ASIC boost theory is, which I have a video on my YouTube channel that kind of breaks down, explains the whole theory. There's still sort of points where there's lack of evidence. Bitmain admitted that they have implemented ASIC boost in their miners, but they're denying that they're using it, which is like, yeah, sure. And then, but there's sort of questions like, okay, is ASIC boost actually incompatible with SegWit? That's sort of being disputed. Is it actually profitable? That's also being disputed. So if this ASIC boost theory falters, Greg Maxwell is going to look kind of, maybe he kind of wasn't right, and then that's going to have an impact on the Bitcoin price. So yeah, that's the story that I've been following. I think that drama, I don't see any resolution happening or possible at this point, honestly. Like, Bitcoin Unlimited people are just going to be Bitcoin Unlimited. SegWit people are going to go SegWit. The conversation has kind of stopped. I mean, there's still conversation, but people have already sort of taken sides. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next year or two there's a Bitcoin Unlimited coin, right? And then there's Bitcoin Vanilla, which is the Bitcoin we know. Like, if SegWit or Bitcoin Unlimited fail to take over the progress of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin just becomes stalled at where it is, but that's okay. That's actually okay. Fee prices will go up. Bitcoin will continue to be Bitcoin, and it'll just be what it is now. And then perhaps the Bitcoin core blockchain people will move to another chain like Litecoin, not to pump it too much, but maybe Litecoin or maybe another cryptocurrency, or who knows what they'll do. And then Bitcoin Unlimited will become Bitcoin Unlimited coin, right? Or Roger Ver coin or whatever.
Yeah, China coin. It will become there's nothing wrong with making up your own China coin.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being your own China coin, having a new altcoin called China coin, and again, the status quo is not the worst thing. Status quo is fine right now, and I have said this many a time. So let's move on to Medici. We're going to go to you. I got a lot of actually. There's a specific question for you. If you have anything to add to what was just said, please add to it. Yeah, and then you can tell any story of the week you wanted to. So any comments on what Juan just said, or do you want me to ask you the specific questions someone had for you?
No, I think, I mean, so F2 Pool, the guy that runs F2 Pool seems like he's going to now start signaling for SegWit. So this might be the turn for Bitcoin SegWit, but the activation at 95% just seems like such a difficult thing to accomplish in the short term, at least. But we'll see what the market does, and I think the miners are going to end up going with SegWit, or at least a variation of it. But I think it's still going to be it's going to take some time for that to pass.
All right, and the question This is a very interesting question. What alt has the best negative correlation to Bitcoin?
Negative. I think it would be Ethereum. Yeah, I mean, the Ethereum basically, whenever Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum goes down, and vice versa. Which is why we recently bought Ethereum, because we're short-term bearish with Bitcoin. But Ethereum has held up pretty well recently. So I mean, we expect it to hit minimum 5 billion market cap. And I think whether Bitcoin rises or not, I think Ethereum is still primed to increase, just because of all the companies that they're beginning to work with, and the sponsorships that they're getting. All of that traction is just going to help it.
Yeah, it's a good gimmick they got going there, being the coin of Silicon Valley and of the elite, or whatever they're going for. I don't know. People, I mean, it's got name recognition, to say the least. Is there a story of the week that we have that you want to share? Anything we left out? Anything?
No, I don't. No, I don't think I have any stories really. Yeah, it's nothing kind of that pops out.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm gonna leave everybody. We're gonna get out of here in a second, but I want everyone to give what they think the price of Bitcoin will be next week at this time. Medici.
Next week.
On Friday, next Friday.
I'm going to say, wow. I could see it between. I would say like probably 1250. Yeah, I think that's around there. I think it's going to consolidate for a while. I don't think it's going to go up too much this week.
All right. How about you, Juan Galt?
Yeah, I mean, I think the price is going to keep doing what it's doing right now. I'm also kind of bearish short term on Bitcoin. I'm playing with other alts that I think might be hedges, right? Like Dash or Ethereum. You know, I think they might be hedges, right? And I'm playing with other altcoins. So I'm very short term on Bitcoin.
All right, and Gabriel, I'm going to let you have the final word. You've coming from Venezuela, and we love your insight, man. Tell us your final words here on the price or anything else.
All right. The magic forest and the rivers are saying that it's going to stay strong above 1150, close to 1300. Okay, and I would like to point out something little short for our imagination. Okay. I read a study for the University of Cambridge, and they say that at least 5.8 million to 11 million active wallets of Bitcoin only. At least 3 million people are frequently users. If this is a 20 billion market with this amount of people, imagine what's going to happen when we have 30 million and 300 million. This cryptocurrency. The world is big, and it's going to get even bigger and better.
Well, I think that it's great that you brought up that, and it shows again that we are only at the beginning. I have tried to tell people that also. People think, oh well, I should just buy a bunch of this third-rate altcoin because the Bitcoin thing is already done. No. It's far from even getting started if you just review the numbers he just said. So that was a very positive way to end the show. Again, I thank my guest for coming on today. I thank all you viewers. Please pound that like button. Pound it. Spread the word. Remember, I post a new video here every single day. Please check out the notes section below for important links where you can find all of these guys, their Twitter, their information. They got good videos out there. Well, Juan Galt's got videos out there. The other two guys don't. Dimitri's got Twitter, and he's also follow him. So again, I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. That was This Week in Bitcoin. I will join you guys in the chat now. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.